Hello, and welcome to another episode of Just Cuz, the podcast where two cousins talk about things they love.
Just cuz today we are discussing the big bad season finale of Loki season 2. Maybe Loki forever. We don't know.
Yeah, maybe this is the last time we ever see him.
Yeah.
With that, we should say massive spoiler warning. We always talk spoilers on this podcast, but if you have not seen Loki season 1 and season 2, go watch that right now.
Get on your ass, turn on the TV, and go watch it right now. This is not a drill. It's excellent, okay?
You'll go put your gym clothes on and then go sit on the couch and you're still going to be sweating from stress.
Yeah, grab a big tub of ice cream and you'll still cry. So
Yep. It'll be great. It'll be cathartic.
Yeah.
So, Sasha, obviously we both know our opinions on this show, but what did you think of this?
Max, I loved it more than words can say. And I was not expecting to. I can't stress that enough. Like, I love season 1 of Loki. We've talked about it. I love the character. I love all of the characters in the show, and
Right.
I love the direction of season 1, but as season 2 has gone on, I had gotten a little, not worried, but I gotten a little apprehensive. I thought, do those mean the same thing? Is there like no point in me differentiating?
They're synonymous, I guess.
Yeah, I think
don't
so.
know.
Whatever. I was worried. Fine. And I was worried because around the midpoint, I want to say like around episode 3 or 4, I was worried that we had lost the plot. I was sitting there watching Loki, and we were in the 1800s looking for Victor Timely and Ravonna.
I was going to say this exact same thing.
Yeah, Ravonna Renslayer and Miss Clock, whatever.
Miss Minutes.
Miss Minutes, that's...
I did like her and her, character work, but I think I had the exact same worry around episode 3 when they went back in time and they were running around, and it had some great old-timey music, but it was around that point that I realized Loki season 2 lost its showrunner, the person who was kind of behind season 1.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And that was the moment, because I'd never really been concerned about that, but after episode 3, and again, I liked it, like I said, Miss Minutes and her crazy love for He Who Remains, but
she was down bad.
Yeah, I just, like you said, I didn't know if we were coming to a point, but clearly we were, because I think even the next episode, is that the one where they crush all the people in the cube?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the one where Loki meets himself. And so it's revealed what we all thought was definitely the case from the first episode, where the Loki who is time slipping through time, who sees Sylvie in the future, and she's like, "Oh, there you are," gets spiked or whatever. No, pruned. That's I'm not good
like
with
your
words
fingers
today.
in a pool.
Yeah. Pruny fingers. He gets pruned by himself. It was Loki who pruned him. Loki from the future. And
honestly, and if that wasn't the case, I feel like we both would have been angry.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it had to be Loki.
Because it was so obvious, because Sylvie was already looking for him. She literally said, "Oh, there you are. Who else would it be?" And Loki would obviously know that he's saving his own life by doing that. So it just made sense. But when it was revealed in episode 4, first of all, I forgot that there were only 6 episodes of the season. And I was looking at the number and I was like, this has already happened? That seems too soon. I was like, I thought they were going to save this for the finale, but boy, am I happy that they didn't.
No, they had too many other things to talk about in the finale.
Oh boy, did they. Yeah, so he prunes himself, and then Ravonna and Miss Minutes recruit Brad, who's he's just there this season. Like,
yeah,
I was
I like a lot of his character work, but yeah, I don't know what he was there for.
Yeah, because he wasn't in the first season, and they introduced him right? He wasn't in the first season, right? Am I losing my mind?
No, not that I know
Okay,
of.
no. He wasn't in the first season. And they introduced him, and I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be interesting. And then he just, like, disappears at the end of episode 4. I mean, he doesn't disappear. He's killed. Like, I remember it happening. But it happens so quickly and so unceremonious. I think in episode 4 or 5, I don't remember. And it's just like, oh, we never see him again. Okay, I get it. And I was like, oh, I thought he was gonna be a little more important to, like, because of how much focus he got.
Like, he wasn't a main villain, but he was one of the antagonists, and I liked him. And his movie, what was it, Zaniac?
I mean, like, there was a whole cool sequence of Loki and Mobius chasing him through the 1930s or whatever, and that was great. And that was, like, the biggest showcase of Loki's magic this season.
Oh, when he was in the shadows.
Also, when Brad ran into that crowd of people, and crowd of people was all Loki. It was all fake. It was all him. And I'm like, that's so sick. I love when he plays with your mind. I love when they remind us that he was a villain. I'm like, he was a really good villain, and he's getting a TV show for a reason because he's super cool.
Or even just the fact that you forget that Loki has really cool illusion powers. We're getting ahead of ourselves, but there's a moment in the TVA where they get magic back. And I was like, oh yeah, Loki's got a lot of magic.
Yeah. No, that was actually really funny. I think that was the same episode as we're talking about because they are like, I rewatched them, so they all blended together a little bit. But it's when Mobius and Casey and Ouroboros are like, oh, we might have to turn this thing off so the loom doesn't explode. And they're like, what is it? And they're Loki and Sylvie are like, what is it? And then Casey, I don't know who says it, but they're like, oh, it's the thing that prevents people from using magic in the TVA. And then Loki and Sylvie look at each other and they're like, turn it off!
Turn it off right now.
And I'm like, yeah, they're the same person. They want their freaking magic.
My initial thought wasn't even, oh crap, Loki and Sylvie can use magic now. My thought was, go get the Infinity Stones. There's a bunch of them. Use them right now. But no, they didn't. And I'm kind of glad they didn't.
Yeah.
Because we're done with the Infinity Stones.
We're so done. And I don't think that magic filter would have made the Infinity Stones work. Because, well, just like theorizing, the TVA is like outside of time, right? And I think the Infinity Stones only have power in their universe because they are like created of the universe. So I don't think they would have power in a place without time, no matter if there was a magical protection or not.
I can say with confidence that is sometimes the case.
Yeah. Oh, okay, fair.
Sometimes it's not. So I have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, who knows?
But I'm glad they didn't get the Infinity Stones.
Yeah. Honestly,
we're past the Infinity Saga.
I forgot all about those Infinity Stones in the drawer there.
Well, my thought was like, oh, there are dozens. We can use so many. But no. It's better that we don't. But I have a note, and we're kind of changing topics, but I don't know how to feel about Sylvie in this entire season. Because she doesn't have a lot to do, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, yeah, that's the point. Yeah. She doesn't want to have a lot to do.
Yeah. I felt that she was very consistent in her characterization. And you're exactly right. Like, she doesn't want to do anything. She just wants to live her life. She just wants to work at McDonald's and go listen to records. Right? I'm like, that's not a terrible life. You know, you go do you, Sylvie. Fair.
And she had fully just swatted Loki away, just being like, no, we're not saving the universe. You're just trying to get your band back together.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm not helping. And she was morally right until everything started disappearing.
Right.
Which, that spaghetti effect.
Oh wow. My gosh. Wait, okay, so let's back up just a little bit.
Yeah. We gotta go back an episode.
Yeah.
We should probably discuss the loom exploding and the end of episode 4 and that cliffhanger.
Okay, that's
just the way that it explodes. You see Loki. It's like the Oppenheimer shot where it's a bunch of light on his face and then cut to black.
That's good. That's not what I was gonna say, but that's good. Let's talk about that. That's probably better than what I was gonna say. Okay, so the end of episode 4, Loki and Sylvie, they've turned off the magic protection. Loki and Sylvie are meeting Mobius, Casey, B-15, and Ouroboros in the Loom laboratory thing outside of the Loom.
And Timely.
Yeah, sorry. Dang, there's so many people there. Okay. And Victor
Well, Timely's important because he's about to
right. Yeah. He's very important.
You're so brave.
But they all become important. Oh my god, that was hilarious. No, but they all become important. Yeah, there's a party in the Loom laboratory. I don't remember if we talked about what the Loom is in our first Loki episode.
We didn't. I don't think we even saw the Loom.
No, because we only
we did, but we didn't know what it was.
Yeah, because we only saw like the first episode, so it was like still kind of a mystery. So it's like this thing that the TVA has in order to make the sacred timeline.
I have a very, very dumb question about the Loom.
Okay, go.
And I'm pretty sure this is not the case. But if the Loom is an object on the sacred timeline, or just on the timeline in general, does that mean the Loom represents an event?
No.
Say, like, the Loom could be the visualization of what will happen in and later Avengers movie? I don't think so, but I had that thought while I was watching Loki.
No, and here's why, in my opinion. I obviously don't know everything.
No, I want to hear what you have to think.
I have no
idea.
I don't think that the Loom is an object on a timeline. I think it...
Or even an event.
I don't think it is. I think it only exists in the TVA and only exists in the realm of creating the sacred timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that... Okay, so Loki is confusing because it takes place outside of time, right?
And yet he's still time traveling inside of a place that exists outside of time.
Yes, but...
They even say it in the show, but it is very confusing.
Yeah.
Like, it makes zero sense. And if you think about it, it makes even less sense.
That's absolutely true.
That's kind of what I like.
But I was more saying it's confusing with the timeline of the rest of the MCU stuff that has come out because it takes place outside of time. Because if you go back to the first episode of Loki comes from 2012. This Loki last left Earth in 2012. And he's obviously not in 2000. He's not going back to 2012 ever. Because that timeline was erased. But
although there is one time that he goes to see Hunter B-15.
Yes, who does live in 2012. Yes.
And they make a point of like saying that there wasn't an invasion or anything like that. But anyway.
But it takes place in this place where there is no time going forward. So the other Marvel movies that have come out since Loki, or TV shows or anything that have come out since Loki has come out, they have no bearing on Loki or all bearing on Loki. Because if you think about like Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness,
Quantumania,
yeah. So all of those ones that deal with aspects of the multiverse, I think the Marvels might. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. But
I will say I am pretty confident, even in a slight way, every single Phase 5 and 6 movie so far has had an element of the multiverse.
Right.
Just an element.
And like even Kamala Khan, the fact that she's like a mutant, like I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But anything that has to do with the multiverse seems to be resting on what happens in the Loki season 2 finale, which is crazy because the Loki season 2 finale hadn't come out when all of those other things came out.
Right.
So I think it seemed to be planned from the beginning, but also is retroactively making the universe make sense. But it's only making the universe make sense because Loki's the one who made it not make sense in the first place by introducing the sacred timeline. So it's very confusing.
So I had a revelation as I was driving home from the Marvels, and I'll talk a little bit about that spoiler free because I have seen it. The Marvels was supposed to come out last year when Quantumania did, and Quantumania was supposed to come out right now. I feel like that clearly was supposed to be a better roadmap or a better timeline for what's going on. That being said, it still works. We're still piecing all the pieces together of this multiverse, and I almost like the fact that it's splintered in time, that we're having to piece it all together. Clearly, a lot of audience do not like that. They want more clear storytelling, but it's working for me, and all of this was affected by COVID, so I'm willing to give it a little more benefit of the doubt. That being said, all of this, I love Loki so much. I remember hearing from an interview that Loki season 1 and 2 was always planned. Mm-hmm. It was always 2 halves of the same book. And I just love that, because that is clearly the case.
Oh, absolutely.
Despite the fact that it lost its showrunner, it is very much the same show, same production design.
They very much, you know what they did on this show? They had a show Bible, and you can fucking tell, okay?
You can really tell.
The show, I'm sorry, Kevin Feige, but the shows without show Bibles, you can also tell. And they're not very consistent. And this one is very consistent and very good, and there's a lot of love put into it. You can tell with the filmmaking, just the quality of Loki. You can tell.
I mean, you can go back to any of our other episodes. We always have a lot of good stuff and bad stuff to say about the Disney Plus shows, and I will say I love almost all of them, with the exception of Secret Invasion.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But like, Loki is very, very clearly the best out of them. Mm-hmm. It was hard to decide between Loki season 1 and WandaVision.
It was.
But Loki season 2 has blown it out of the water.
It really has. And it's important to see things as a full picture. And Loki was very much planned as a full picture. And unfortunately, for WandaVision, the trajectory that Wanda Maximoff goes on after WandaVision does not show that WandaVision had a full picture in mind for its character. And that's unfortunate. Mm-hmm. But in the case of a connected universe, that is a necessity. And it didn't work out. And I'm very sad, because Wanda is one of my favorite characters from the comics ever. And
this is a little off topic, but did you hear in another interview with what's her name?
Elizabeth
the person
Olsen.
Who plays Elizabeth Olsen. She was like, "Yeah, I think I'm done. We can just say Wanda died."
That's
which really
sad.
sucks.
Yeah, because
which I don't think. I don't think she is actually done. I want to see her back, but
I don't know.
Just give her a big check. I don't know.
It seemed like she really. You can tell in a lot of her interviews, she really liked the character of Wanda, and she really liked doing all the work that she did in WandaVision. Mm-hmm. And she mentioned many times that she tried to tell the people who were making Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness what her character arc was and how it was going to play out, because they hadn't seen WandaVision yet, which is crazy. They should have been given a script at the very least. They should have been given a script. They should have been in on the production, or it should have been the same production team. Like, I can't believe that was not the case. I know that it was directed and written by Sam Raimi, but if you need to have someone there with him. You can't just this is a universe. They're not standalone films. You can't let this kind of thing happen. Whatever, that was a long time ago, but back to Loki. Loki very clearly had this plan set out, and you can tell from the end of season 1 they were already planning a season 2, and this makes it, even if they didn't know the exact way that they were going to get there, seeing the finale of Loki season 2, you can tell that they knew that they were getting to this specific place the whole time.
And I think Loki season 1 was the only Disney Plus show ever to end with the title card, "You will see Loki again in season 2."
Right.
Because they'd already confirmed that season 2 was out.
Exactly. Anyway, we should talk about the episodes.
Yes.
Episodes 5 and 6, because we talked a lot about episode 4.
Getting the band back together.
Oh, well, wait, hold on. We left off. We didn't explain. The loom, they all go to see the loom, and the loom, they try to fix it, and they send Victor Timely out.
Volunteers.
He volunteers. They send him out to go into the radiation to fix up the loom, and he walks outside. He steps outside heroically, and he immediately turns into dust. Basically, he gets pulled apart by.
It's like the snapping where everyone just turns into dust, but it's spaghetti.
It's spaghetti.
Like for Mr. Fantastic. Yeah. I love it all.
It's great.
I love it so much.
It's like it reminds me of Medusa's hair, which also reminds me of spaghetti. But they all turn into snakes, you know? It's great.
Love spaghetti. I'm probably going to have spaghetti
tonight.
Love
spaghetti. I'm going to have spaghetti right after this.
Although, this is way off topic. Have you been catching up on Rick and Morty?
No, I haven't yet, because it's because I don't have Cartoon Network, and it's not on Hulu yet, and I'm very upset. And so I'm going to watch it somehow.
I mean, yeah, I would never say this because I watch everything legally, but maybe there are some websites.
We are very law-abiding, non-pirating citizens. I've
never gone on the high seas with movies.
I detest pirating and all of its incarnations. That means you are flag means death.
But yeah, there's an episode about spaghetti. That's all I'll say.
Okay. I'm gonna.
Yeah, maybe I won't eat spaghetti because of that episode.
No, I like spaghetti. Okay, I'll eat spaghetti and then I'll watch that episode.
Yes, good idea. What were we talking? Spaghetti, fine. Spaghetti, okay. People getting turned into spaghetti.
Yes. So Victor Timely gets turned into spaghetti, and then the Lokis, Loki and Sylvie and sorry, I just like calling them the Lokis. I think it's really funny.
They are the Lokis.
Yeah.
That could be a band.
Oh,
and Mobius could be in there.
Yes.
He's a Loki.
Mobius and the Lokis. Stop. That's a great name.
Oh, that's perfect. That is so good.
Okay.
Someone write that down.
Write it down. Okay. So all of them are all in the lab, and they see Victor Timely turn into spaghetti, and the loom explodes, and then the episode ends, and you're like, oh, just okay.
Hard cut.
Yeah. So we're like, oh, what's gonna happen? Are they all gonna die? Probably not. There are 2 more episodes. But so then
and honestly, I think for the week that we waited for this next episode to come out, I was like, anything could happen.
Yeah.
Anything. And I was so excited because for episode 5 we start up and Loki's just alone in the same room and he's time slipping. And at first I was very confused about all of this because, like, why is he time slipping? But
yeah, so I was also confused. I was like, hey, didn't they fix the whole time slipping thing? But I reasoned, I don't know if this is canon to the show, but I reasoned in my own head that Loki, when he went back in time and when he pruned himself and he went forward in time, or went back in time, whatever. I don't know what time.
He's slipping around everywhere.
Slipping, yeah. When they fixed the time slipping thing where he was involuntarily time slipping in the TVA, I think that they just fixed it in the TVA, right? And then when they turned off that power dampener, then he got that time slipping ability back.
That would make sense. Here was my justification. The loom breaking just turned on the failsafe program in the TVA, which sent everyone in the TVA to their original point. And it slipped Loki around because he doesn't really have an original point anymore. Again, that theory doesn't really work because why wasn't Sylvie moved back to her original point?
Yeah.
But maybe she has a time door. Maybe in the blink of an eye, she just ran through it.
Yeah, well, that seems likely. I'm pretty sure
but
that is.
Honestly, both of our theories are not only both correct because they both work, but like either one could be correct. I think that's what the creators want.
Or both could be correct. Who knows?
It's like Barbie Land. It's like whatever you think it is, yes.
Sorry, hold on.
Gotta get the giggles out about Barbie, because God, Barbie's great.
I just love how much you love Barbie and how much you try to slip it into any conversation we ever have.
Anytime we're having a serious conversation about like changing the world or trying to change the world, I will bring up the scene where Barbie lies down and says, I'll let a more important Barbie take care of it.
Yeah.
Because that scene is ingrained in my brain.
It's hilarious. And it's perfect. All right.
Yeah, back to Loki. Loki the loner.
Loki goes back and his time slipped back to just before this has happened. And then it happens again. And he turns to Ouroboros and he says, what could we have done differently? And then he says, we need more time.
Yeah, I could do that.
So Loki it's basically, the first part of this episode is basically Groundhog Day. Yep. And it's great.
It's even got the fun music.
Yeah. And I literally screamed, it's Groundhog Day. So he keeps going back. He keeps failing. The world keeps ending. He keeps going back and trying to fix it, trying to have more time, trying to be quicker. Never works. Then he eventually goes back farther. And so at this point, he's still not in control of his time slipping. He is, which is interesting. I'm like, how do you know when to go back to if you're not in control right now?
I figured he was.
Oh, wait, hold on. Point. Wait, we skipped a whole episode. No, he is in control. Yeah. I'm so sorry. We skipped a whole episode. That's episode 6.
I'm glad we're going back to episode 5 because I do want to mention the moment where Loki time slips and the inflatable guy's behind him and he does the arm wave.
No, it was so funny. I
don't know why they did that.
Okay.
But someone behind the camera was like, no, we are keeping that shot.
Yeah, no.
It is staying in the show.
Wasn't it in the trailer? It was so funny.
I have no idea.
I remember seeing that wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man in the trailer or something. I don't know. I have to say the whole name every time because of Family Guy. But,
yeah.
But I literally, I'm going to say this often, as I probably have for a long time, but I talk to myself and I talk to the TV while I'm watching things. So I said out loud, he's wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
Get him for only $50.99.
What is it? It's wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. Passing the savings on to you.
Yeah. Oh God. But yeah, he slipped next to the wacky
waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
Man.
It's a good vocal warm up.
Unique New York. That's all I can do.
Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather.
Yeah, he's meeting all the different real life versions of the people in the TVA, but this is them on a branch timeline in their actual lives.
This is from where they come from. Eons ago. Futurama.
One of them is Frank. I can't remember his last name, but a guy who actually escaped from Alcatraz.
He escaped from Alcatraz.
That's a real story.
Yeah. So that's Casey. Casey is Frank who escaped from Alcatraz. Hunter B-15, we never learned her name, but she's a doctor. She's a doctor in New York in 2012.
Which is why she wants to help people.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's great. Mobius is is a single dad of 2 young boys who are blonde like him. It's excellent. I love it. And he is a jet ski salesman. And
a perfect form of union,
a perfect
and function,
union
or
of form and function.
What did I say?
You said a perfect form of union and function.
God damn it. Yeah, I did really like how Mobius had 2 kids, one of which was a evil little kid who burns stuff, and then the older one is the do-gooder.
Yeah. Which
kind of reminds you of a pair of siblings, one of which may be Loki, and the other's Thor.
Oh my god, what? I never even thought of that. That's hilarious. Oh my god, that's why
I love that so much.
That's why Mobius loves Loki so much. That's why he relates to Loki, because his son is
one of his kids.
Loki. Did he adopt one of them? No, because they look identical to each other. But
what happened to the mom? I don't know. Maybe she was blipped.
Maybe there wasn't ever a mom. Did you ever think about that? Maybe there was another dad. Maybe he just decided that he wanted to be a father, and he went to a donor or something.
It's me assuming and stepping too far.
You're making
but
an
those
ass
2 kids
out
looked a lot like him.
What do you mean? Of course they would. No, I meant like, what if he was like, I want to have kids. I'm going to find a surrogate, and that's what he did.
That could work, I guess.
Maybe, bro. Hey, you never know. As well as all I'm saying, you never know.
But honestly, the most important person I feel like to talk about in episode 5 is Ouroboros.
Absolutely. Kiwi Kwan, you've done it again. I love you.
Oh, what a brilliant human being. I love him so much, and I love his character. I mean, just the name Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail, and him and Victor both writing the book, and they work.
Oh,
everything about that I love so much.
That makes so much more sense. Okay, see, I know Norse mythology pretty well, but I always forget their stupid names because they all have a bunch of stupid consonants in them, and I hate it.
It's all Bliederschnord and Jotunheim and
but I forgot that was the name of the snake, because I remember every time I heard his name, I would think of the Aurora Borealis. And I was like, I know that's not correct, but that's what it reminds me of.
No, just his whole character being tied around the idea of a snake eating its own tail.
No, it's excellent.
Love everything about that. And even just his set in his branch timeline being the same set as the one in the TVA.
Yeah.
Just with minor differences.
I was like, whoa, it's the same room. That's cool. Anyway, he is in 1994. He is a failed author. I mean, and he has a published book, but it doesn't sell.
Yeah, but he has to put it onto the shelves himself, which is sad.
Sad.
What really got me confused is the story that he's writing. They never really specify, but he says that Loki is one of his fictional characters.
Come to life, yeah.
So he might, Is he subconsciously remembering everything and writing it as science fiction?
I don't know, because they did have all a bunch of different names and stuff. They mentioned it like offhanded a little bit, but that might be I don't think it's important, but I think that might be the wink to camera bit. Like, oh, maybe he's writing Loki seasons 1 and 2.
Whoa.
Who knows? And in 1994, it doesn't sell.
So sad, Obi.
No, but he's great, and he invents time travel in like 45 minutes. No, he does it in...
No, it took him 19 months.
Yeah.
He lost his wife and his home.
Yeah, that's really sad. He just offhandedly mentions how he loses his wife and his home because she leaves him because he's so focused on inventing time travel. And I'm like, damn.
Yet, all of that, in that same shot, it has Obi trying to mess with the time door, and it's like glitching to the side and moving.
So cute.
And
I loved it.
I couldn't stop laughing. That was perfect.
Basically, Loki gathers them all together, and because Ouroboros has a hypothesis, he says they can read their time signature or something if he gets all the people who were there
in the cup
back to the
mug.
Get all the pens in the mug, get them all back in the same room, and we can try and get you to that place.
Does that make sense? No, but it's like they even said it.
No.
It's science fiction.
Yeah.
More fiction than science.
More fiction than science. Yeah, it was good. And then he goes to find Sylvie, and Sylvie's McDonald's disappears. And she doesn't. And
everything's disappearing around her. Like cups randomly, her shot glass.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you won't even see the spaghetti; it'll just be gone.
Yeah, that was the shot glass got me. I was like, "What happened to the shot glass? Did she drink it?" No.
This is gone.
But basically, so Loki goes back there and realizes that this is not a Sylvie from a breach timeline who doesn't know anything. This is the same Sylvie. She knows exactly what happened. She was there. So I think she did step through a time door because she does have one. So I think she just zipped off when she was like, "Oh, well, this is going to shit. Bye." And she's just gone. Yeah. Very, very.
I'm gonna go back to McDonald's.
Very Loki of her, honestly.
Yeah. Very, very Loki of her. Yeah. But yeah, that makes the most sense. And she's fully ready to just live the rest of her life in the 80s at a McDonald's.
I love her to death, but I'm sorry, honey, that haircut is just not doing it for you. The mullet, it had its time, and it's gone now, and I don't like it.
It's the mixture of bangs and mullet. It does not work.
Yeah, it's not for me. Sylvie. I don't like it.
Because we're getting ahead of ourselves, but we see Sylvie from season 1, and I'm like, whoa, I forgot how good your old hair was.
Her hair was great before. She can live in the 80s fine, dress her in long blazers, but don't change the hair.
Yes.
Whatever. They made a choice.
I do want to say, before we move on to the finale, we got that one scene where Sylvie's in the record store. Yeah. And everything around her is just disappearing or turning to spaghetti. That guy tries to warn her. The VFX are incredible.
Can I say, that was epic. That was so good. And it just like, even from the beginning of the scene before the spaghetti, the camera work, like it panned up on her like upside down, listening to the record on the couch, like a god shot down. It was great. Mm-hmm.
And the way the record was like just rising and the edges of it were turning into spaghetti. Oh my god. Beautiful shot. So good.
It was excellent.
And then Sylvie goes back to the OBs.
Marvel, pay your VFX workers more and give them a union and give them more rights. They deserve it. It's gorgeous, okay? Give them more.
Oh my god. Not even that. Give your VFX artists time to do their job, too.
Yes, more time, more money, more all of it. More days off, time for sleeping. Jesus.
And no spoilers. I probably said way too many spoilers last week about Invincible, so I need to cool it with the spoilers. But there is an after-credit scene for the Marvels, and I could put money on it that some VFX artists were working on it days before the release of the movie.
That's just horrible to hear.
Yeah, it's not good. It should be a standard that
our world is broken. This capitalist machine needs to take a break. This is art you're messing with. Stop it.
And it's fun art too. We just want to have fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to Loki.
Okay. So Loki's witnessing everyone disappear they're in 1994 in Ouroboros' workshop. Loki is watching everyone turn to spaghetti, and the last person to leave is Sylvie. And when Sylvie, first Mobius leaves, and it's really sad, and then Sylvie, turns into spaghetti, and it was Casey, and sorry, I have to go in order, or my brain will yell at me.
Casey was the first because even I thought that he stole the time, whatever door, or whatever.
Oh no, I didn't. I thought it was turning to spaghetti, but very.
That was nowhere in my brain. So when people started disappearing, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Well, Casey, and then Mobius, and then B-15, and then Ouroboros, and then finally the room turns, and then Sylvie starts to turn into spaghetti, and Loki can't handle it, and he time slips, and then he says the most romantic line ever to Ouroboros. He's like, "It's not when, it's who," and I'm like, "Shut the fuck up, Loki."
Just Loki, I get you want to be dramatic.
Like, calm down, okay? Shut up. You're so cute. Stop it.
But yeah, him controlling this time slipping ability is so overpowered.
It's awesome.
And it made me so excited for the possibilities of what could happen in the finale.
Yeah, I was like,
anything can happen.
Loki, you are already literally a god. You have literally so much power. I keep saying literally, I'll try and stop, but you have so much power, and now you can travel through time and space, and it's revealed in the next episode that you're basically Hiro Nakamura, and you can stop time and go anywhere and do whatever you want. I'm like, this is nuts. This is crazy.
How does he do that?
He just learned. I don't know. He didn't say.
Because I thought that it was a technology controlling it, but no, he just points his finger at the sky and boom, he does it.
Okay, hold on. We'll get there. But, so then he controls the time slipping, and he goes back, and he's back in the room, and it's back in the same close-up on him when the loom explodes, and he vows to do it better next time. That's when the Groundhog Day starts. Can I just say, in that close-up shot, with all those lights on him, the only thing that I could think about in that scene was that Tom Hiddleston's eyes look exactly like green grapes. They are, with this lighting, they're the same color as green grapes. I'm like, that's so green. That's like jade green. How does a human's eyes actually look like that? That's nuts.
So Tom Hiddleston has always been the perfect casting for Loki.
Yeah.
But this season ended, and I don't know if they made his cheekbones sunken or tighter, but man, he looked like Loki.
It's makeup and his perfect face structure. That's what it is.
And they did some CGI to make his nose more crooked or something. I don't know.
Did they? I didn't even notice.
Perfect.
Okay,
I don't think they did. I think my brain was just like, holy shit, that's Loki. And I was just connecting dots.
Well, he's been Loki for 14 years. I think.
But I mean, the way that the season ended, mythological Norse Loki.
We'll get there in a second. First, I do want to say, because the the SAG-AFTRA strike ended literally last night, Tom Hiddleston was able to go on Jimmy Fallon's show and promote the last episode of Loki the day after it came out. This is the only promotion it's gotten the whole time by the actors, because the strike ended. He went on and he was saying all this stuff about how it's not only the conclusion to season 2, but it's a conclusion to season 1, and he didn't say concludes, but he said it's like it wraps up, like it brings full circle his entire 14 years of playing Loki. And I was like, that's crazy. First of all, that it can do that, and second of all, that it's been 14 years. Nuts.
We better see this version of Loki in Kang Dynasty or Secret Wars, just so that he can see Thor and Mobius one more time.
I'm certain that we will. Okay, hold on.
I'm not certain.
Well, okay.
This could be
maybe
Tom
not
Hiddleston's end.
Certain, but I think we will. Hold on. Okay, so Groundhog Day happens. Then, so Loki can control. I was wrong before. I was misremembering. Loki can control his time slipping, so he keeps going back, doing Groundhog Day, and then he's like, okay. He looks at Ouroboros, and he's like, oh, he goes back a little farther, and he's like, how long will it take for me to know everything that you know about quantum mechanics and time travel and all this shit.
Everything,
about everything. And he says decades, and then Victor Timely's like centuries. And then it just cuts to a black title card, and it says centuries later. And you're like,
and that was that was the moment where I was like, oh, they're doing this. Like, Loki he's always been, the god of mischief, but he is a god in this episode.
Obviously, he's a god and he's lived for centuries already, but it's crazy to think that he has spent centuries doing this one thing, trying to get this right, stuck in this time loop. And that's not even the end of it, because he's still stuck there for a long time after. And he spends centuries, he learns everything he could possibly learn, every possibility. You come and he's saying all these things. He's like, don't set the thing down. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't stop. Because he knows, because he's seen every version of what could have happened. Yep. And they finally do it. It finally works. And Victor Timely does it. He hits the thing and it launches into the loom and the rings expand, whatever. And it works.
And he goes back into the room safely.
And then Loki is so happy. And then it explodes again. And he's like, what? And that was because I was saying this to the TV. I was saying it before this even started. As soon as they started talking about that's what they had to do, expand the rings. It was like episodes before, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense though. It's infinite timelines. You can't.
And if it's growing infinitely.
Yeah, it's an infinite. No, it's a multiverse. Infinite number of timelines, infinitely growing. It's like space. You can't put a device, a loom, no matter how big it is, no matter how outside of time you are, around an infinite. You can't account for an infinite number. And that is exactly what they said. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so smart. I was like, where's my degree?
I'm basically
in quantum physics? Exactly. But so that's exactly what Ouroboros and Victor Timely say. They're like, it's infinite. There's no way that you can account for that. And the loom breaks. So he's like, okay, where do I have to go back to now? Oh no, Sylvie says it. Sylvie's like, it's like this was destined to happen since I killed He Who Remains. So Loki goes back there, and then we're back at the season 1 finale.
And I thought there was a chance this might happen. The entire episode I was thinking, how far back is Loki gonna go? Like, we could even go as far back as Thor 1.
Sure.
But I'm glad we just went back to the finale of this first episode. And we even go back to the first episode of the show in general.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But yeah, that scene hurts. But okay, before we get
into it, this episode is called Glorious Purpose. So before we even started, I knew something was up, because the first ever episode of Loki season 1, episode 1, is entitled Glorious Purpose. And I knew that off the top of my head because I'm a fucking nerd. And
this episode, in the recap, it also made a point of showing Loki in the first episode saying, I want to be king. I deserve a throne.
Yes. And it's just a lot. It's just a lot. So... and also guts. They've been going back to that location all season. They've been going back to the palace at the end of time. He Who Remains is house, I guess. Rad to call that a house,
his crib.
But it is. Yeah, his crib. So I was like, I have a feeling that we're going to do something involving the season 1 finale. We're going to see He Who Remains alive again. And Loki goes back, time slips back to then, when Sylvie is about to kill him. And he ends up spending who knows how long, how many cycles fighting Sylvie over and over again. And Sylvie ends up winning and killing He Who Remains every single time. Until eventually, well, not eventually, but we see one timeline where He Who Remains stops time and talks,
and it's
to Loki
just going up to He Remains and he's like, are you ever gonna butt in? Like, you're just gonna let yourself die?
Yeah.
And then He Remains just like stops Sylvie and is like, how many times have you been doing this, bud?
And he's like, it was so menacing the whole time. He was like, you think that I'm just gonna lay back and let her kill me and that would be it? No. This is all...
He's like, I told you.
Yeah.
Reincarnation.
Reincarnation, baby. This is all my plan. This is all a failsafe. There is no way to keep going with the loom. Either I stay alive and stay in control of everything, or you have to kill Sylvie. Or no, sorry. That's the option one. I stay alive and you have to kill Sylvie. And the universe stays intact. Or
everything but the sacred timeline is purged.
Everything gets destroyed because it's a failsafe. Because He Who Remains is that afraid, I guess, of his multiverse counterparts, of his variants. And that is that he's willing to burn everything unless it's this specific timeline, which is kind of metal.
Just
but,
vicious. Just goddamn.
Yeah. But Loki can't kill Sylvie. He can't do it. He doesn't want to. And why should he, honestly?
Yeah.
So he's like, no, I'm going to figure out something else. I'm going to break your loom. And He Who Remains is like, well, then you're going to have to deal with all the other Kangs and all the Kangs and whatnot. But so then Loki starts going other places. He time travels back. Where does he go?
I feel like
next?
He goes to Mobius so that he can try to convince himself to kill Sylvie, but the real reason why he went back to Mobius is just to see him one last time.
Yeah.
Because he knows what he's actually going to be doing.
Yeah.
I think at this point
he goes back to the first episode of Loki, where he and Mobius, it's just him and Mobius sitting in that room talking about his life. And I'm like, this is the quintessential Loki moment. Just Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston sitting in a room talking about Loki. And I'm like...
going over Loki's slideshow life, you know?
And it's crazy. And the fact that Mobius just takes it in stride. He's like, okay, you clearly know exactly what's going to happen. And you're clearly not the same Loki I was talking to 5 seconds ago. And that was just so fun. But so he goes there and he tries to get closure to, I don't know, I guess kill Sylvie. Yeah. But then he goes...
but we know he's not going to do that.
Well, he goes back and he talks to Sylvie also, and he stops time and he tells her, this is what I might have to do. And she's like, well, I'm not going to give you my blessing to kill me. And I was like, fair point.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that.
I wouldn't give someone my blessing to kill me. Why would I do that? Especially
because Sylvie's right. We all know that Sylvie's right. People, the timelines deserve free will. And He Who Remains, keeping the sacred timeline intact, is actively murdering every other timeline, every other universe. And that's crazy. So we all know Sylvie's right. And Loki just has to come to terms with that it's better that there's free will and that, you know, bad things might happen. But Sylvie says bad things happen everywhere. There's still inequality and injustice and terrible things that happen on the sacred timeline
all over the place.
Why does this one version of reality deserve to exist over any other?
And there's a lot of discussion in season 2 specifically of how much are you morally willing to let slide or let sacrifice for the greater good? And I love the way that they tie up that entire theme and storyline with Loki saying, nothing. I'm not willing to sacrifice any of my friends.
Yeah.
Other than, you know, my own life.
Yeah.
Because that is something that you have full control over.
Yeah.
And that really smacked me like a truck. that theme.
That was really good.
Oh God.
Yeah. Ugh. Okay. And then so Loki goes back to right before the loom is going to explode, and instead of, even though he's done it 100 million centuries worth of times way, where Victor goes out and onto the bridge to fix the loom, this time he doesn't. This time Loki goes out onto the thing. He runs out, he stops everyone from following him, and he like, it's so epic. He walks onto the bridge and he has...
But before then, I have to point this out, because I will continue pointing out all of these, I don't even know what to call them, just callbacks, because before he walks out, he says, "I can do it for you, for all of us," which is the exact same thing he said to his dad before, he fell into space in the first Thor movie.
Oh my God, I
can do it for you, for all of us.
I didn't even remember that. Stop. Yeah. That's
no,
awful.
that line had me
But this time
up.
He's looking at Sylvie and Mobius, and I'm like, stop it. Sir, stop it.
Yep.
Ugh.
And then, he walks out, and the music starts playing. He gets his... And like I said before, not just comic book Loki, mythological Norse Loki. Yeah. And he looks like Loki.
He fucking does.
And it is perfect.
And he's going out there and he's like pushing all the... He's using his magic to, I guess, contain the radiation or stop. But then he uses it to break the loom. He uses his magic. And he breaks the loom. And while it's all happening, he transforms into, I guess, what his quote-unquote true form would be. He's wearing his crown of horns. They're bigger than they ever have been, and I love them. And he's wearing... but he's not wearing, like, his kingly Loki leather-clad superhero suit from the Avengers or anything like that. No, he's wearing just, like, a tunic and pants and a cape. He looks like an actual deity. Like, he
looks like he walked off of the set of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And it's perfect.
It's great. So he breaks the loom. He does it. He destroys it. And then all
these black dying threads of time start just kind of floating everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if he starts individually giving them life or putting power back into them so that they could just survive, because he just starts taking them and wrapping them into his hands. And then he just goes to the center of it all, sits down in a chair, and gives the entire multiverse, I don't know, a chance to live.
It's crazy, because I think, like, by breaking the loom, I don't understand why they would be dying, the timelines.
I have no idea.
But I don't know. For some reason they couldn't exist without him. And so he threaded them into himself, into his own life force, and they're coming from his hands, from his cape, from the back of his head. It's like all over his body, and he takes them and he just... Yeah, like you said, he goes to the end of time, basically. That's where he goes. And he sits on a chair. And Loki has his throne, and he has his purpose. Is it glorious? No, but he's burdened with it.
Hey, but with glorious purpose comes glorious responsibility.
I think the point of that was, like, because I think when he was talking to Mobius, I think that was a big thing about it. And he was like, you say you're burdened with glorious purpose. Purpose isn't glorious. It just is. Yeah. And you're burdened with it. And that's what happened. Because it's not glorious. Because Loki is going to sit there forever.
And watch
everything. He's like the ultimate watcher. He is king of the universe now. That's nuts.
he pretty much is the tree of life.
Oh my god, no, stop. That's what I was just gonna say. Like, it zooms out and he has all of these vines of time and he twists them around himself in like a cocoon, and it zooms out, and at first I thought that it was like, what is that, an infinity symbol? And no, it turns
and it keeps on going further.
And it turns upright, and it is Yggdrasil, or whatever, Yggdrasil, however you fucking say it.
It's like YGG, so there's no real way to pronounce it.
Yggdrasil. It is the Norse tree of the 9 worlds. It's the tree of life. And I literally screamed. And then I immediately texted you. What did I text you for verbatim? I thought it was really funny.
It was like, what a finale.
No, that's what you said. I said...
No, yes, you're right.
I said, okay, this was at 10... It was... what, 11 o'clock at night, 11:45 at night, and I said, I'm literally crying, this is not okay, fucking Loki.
Yep, and that's what Loki does to you.
Yeah, I was literally in tears. God, I need to stop saying literally. I was in tears. And I could not believe that this was happening. I was like, whoa. And, like, not only are they coming full circle with all of the character arcs and themes and everything, but they're also coming full circle with the Norse mythology. Damn, why did I ever doubt them?
Yep, and it was perfect. And I think I had cried a lot in this finale, but at this point, at the very, very end of it, I was not crying because I was waiting for an after credit scene that did not show up.
Bastards. There was none. I couldn't believe it. And I was like, okay, this might be the end. This might be the end for a while. I think definitely, I don't think Loki is going to be leading anything else. But I think people are going to come visit him at some point.
Yep. He is going to be a point of interest in one of the next Avengers movies. I am confident about that. I
can't believe that literally the villain of the first Avengers movie is now King of the Universe. Not even King of the Universe. He's God of the Universe. He is everything. Without him, there is nothing. Too. Yeah, he's a good person now. He found love. He learned his lesson. And friendship and courage and compassion.
He spent centuries learning things so that he could keep his friends alive, so that he wouldn't have to be alone.
Yeah.
Because he really didn't want to be alone.
And now he's alone forever. Stop, I'm going to cry again.
Yeah. But again, I feel like I wasn't crying because I wanted that after credit scene. I don't know if I was expecting, like, Deadpool to show up, but I definitely wanted something.
That would have been absolutely tone shifting. That would have been
crazy.
We
know that the TVA is going to play a role in the next Deadpool movie. So honestly, in the back of my mind, I was expecting it.
That would be
like
great.
40% chance. I thought it might happen.
I want them to replace all of their stupid timekeeper art in the TVA with just pictures of Yggdrasil.
Yes. 100%. And then at the center, you could see a little speck and might be Loki.
Little horned man. Just a little stick figure with horns.
And he's smiling, but he's got tears rolling down.
Oh my god, that's so sad.
That's really, really sad.
Okay, I think we need to move on or I'm for real gonna cry again.
With that, let's move on to our consumption corner, where we're just starved for content.
I've never eaten Sasha, content a day in my life. I'm so starved.
You've never eaten content.
I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
What do you need to be eating then?
I don't know.
If you're gonna starve.
I need the freaking Percy Jackson series to be out already.
Oh my god.
It hasn't come out yet, and I'm sad.
You mentioned the actors' strike ending. That means that we get to have Percy, Annabeth, and Grover go out on all those interviews and have fun and be little kids.
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Honestly, I'm really glad that can happen.
I'm so excited, and I'm really actually kind of worried. I've been thinking about this because I'm like, they need to renew season 2 already and start working on it because they're gonna get bigger. Kids age, right? And they need to stay children.
I also just don't want to wait. But yeah, they got 5 seasons.
I'm like, because you gotta do, they gotta be 12 in the first one, 13 in the second one. Obviously, the kids are older than that already, but they have to, I mean, they're still gonna look it, but like, you know, whatever.
They at least look the part, you know?
13, and
like,
then...
Tom Holland is like 26, but he looks 18, so it works.
Well, because Percy Jackson isn't like Harry Potter, because it's not always the same, because... Okay, no, so it's 12, 13, 14, and then 14 again, because Battle of the Labyrinth takes place like right before Percy's 15th birthday, and then he's 16
Percy's
in the
15th birthday, or his 16th birthday is very important for the prophecy that he's fulfilling. Yeah,
it's the last one, and so it's like they skip a whole year, but then they also like do 2 in 1 year, so it's like it makes sense. Anyway, stuff that so what are you consuming currently?
Well, the one thing that I really wanted to mention was Invincible. I'm going to mention it every week. I love it so much. I did not mention in our Invincible episode that Donald has just somehow returned. I don't know if you remember Donald.
Who's Donald?
He looks like Bobby from King of the Hill. He's Cecil's right hand.
Oh, yeah. Did he die in the first season? Yeah. Did I totally forget that?
Yeah, he got... Omni-Man grabbed his spine, like, out of his back.
Oh, shit.
And then he exploded the building.
Oh, shit. I totally forgot about that. That's crazy.
But yeah, he's back. And in the newest episode, they bring that up. The fact that he's back and no one knows why.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it yet.
But yeah. Definitely watch the newest episode. There is a play on Gotham City, and I love it.
Ooh,
love it so much.
Have I been watching? Oh, I wanted to amend something that I said a few episodes back.
Okay.
Because I've since rewatched it and started reading the book. But back in our Halloween episode, I talked about one of my favorite movies, that I watch every year on Halloween, Practical Magic, which I've mentioned a few times.
I have since tried to watch this.
You have?
It was not for me.
No. Okay, fine. Whatever.
I gave it a good shot.
That's fair. But I had previously said that the plot is not good, and I changed my mind. The plot is very good. I like it.
You know, to each their own.
I like it, okay? It's super fun and campy. And I mean, I watched it at midnight on Halloween, and my first thought was, damn, this is so good.
I guess if we're going back to Halloween recommendations, I did not mention Hocus Pocus 1 or 2 at all.
Oh my god.
And that should have been on the list.
Yeah, Hocus Pocus should
My
have
girlfriend
been.
and I watched that Halloween night.
Halloween Town should have been on the list.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
God. Missed out on some...
We'll have another Halloween to talk about recommendations.
Halloween,
we'll do it again.
Crazily, comes every year, so there'll be another one.
Before we finish up this podcast, I do want to mention in the next day or so, we should have an episode where we talk full spoilers about the Marvels. But I'll just say, really fun time. Fuck the haters. This movie's not making a lot of money, and it really makes me sad because I had so much fun watching this movie.
Good to know.
There's definite things that I would change. Maybe 5 minutes more on the villain. Being vague as possible, but that's about it.
Question about your specific viewing of the Marvels. Did you wear any Marvels swag that I may or may not have sent you?
You know, there was a black The Marvels sweater that I wore to the showing, and I was a little embarrassed wearing it. I mean, there was only like 2 other people in the theater. Again, this movie's not making a lot of money, but everyone was looking at me like, is that guy a Captain Marvel just like fanboy? Like, what's going on here? But no, Sasha gave me some merchandise for the Marvels, including a sweatshirt that I wore.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it was it's a pretty good sweatshirt. Thank you.
You're welcome. I was hoping that you would wear it to go see it, because I'm definitely going to wear mine when I go see it. I don't care what anyone thinks.
But again, you could be a Captain Marvel fanboy because Captain Marvel's cool.
Yeah. But also, I am the person who went to see Spider-Man in a full Spider-Man getup. So it's been stated that I don't care what people think when I go to the movies.
Where I live, there's a lot more hicks, so I feel like if I dress up super nerdy, they're like, what in the hell is that kid doing?
Meanwhile, I'm just out here going last weekend to Rocky Horror Picture Show and in a full corset.
Oh, I wish I could do that.
Come visit, and then you can.
Yes. Yes, I will. But with that, this has been a glorious podcast.
And we were burdened with it.